Hey there, welcome to the second episode of What's Your Take with Wyatt Spalding. I'm Wyatt Spalding, and today we're going to talk about the Clippers Phoenix series. But first, we're going to get to the Bucks Hawks series. So, let's get started. What's my take on the Hawks Bucks series? It's been a pretty good series right now. The Hawks came out fast and we're up 7-0 right away. Trae Young came out on fire in the first quarter with 14 points, 2 for 5 from the three-point line, 6 for 9 from the field. It just really looked like the Hawks were gonna, come out fast maybe and take a big lead and blow the Bucks out right away, just like the Bucks did to the Hawks in Game 2. But then, the Hawks got cold in the second quarter and Bucks were able to get down, have their defense get better, and they made it a game. Trae Young starting off really hot in the first quarter, but he only scored like 30. He scored 35 points, but only had like 3 points in the fourth quarter. So when it really came down for crunch time, he really wasn't there. Now people are gonna say like, "Oh, but he hurt his ankle because the ref was in the way." Which, by the way, why is the ref in Trae Young's way? Get out of the way, man. It's one thing to get hurt by the players, and you land on someone's foot. But if you land on the ref's foot, it's like, what's the ref doing there in Trae Young's way? Get out of his way. Gosh. But anyway, the real guy that came up in the fourth quarter was Middleton. He scored 20 points in the fourth quarter of his 38 points for the game. Was really hot in the fourth quarter. Had like 2 or 3 threes to start the quarter. And I think he really is a big part of why they made it to the conference finals. I mean, you just have Giannis and you take Chris Middleton off the team. I don't think the Bucks are getting to the conference finals. I don't even know if they make it out of the first round, but definitely not the second round. Middleton really carried that team. Giannis had a good game. Like Charles Barkley said, he was at halftime. He was dominating the game without even having to shoot a three, because he doesn't need to shoot threes. He scored 33 points on 13 of 21 shooting, 1 for 2 on threes. That's good, to be honest. You don't need to shoot threes all the time. Let Middleton handle the three-point shooting. You just dominate inside. He also had 11 rebounds, so Giannis really showed up tonight too, but when it was crunch time, Middleton stepped up. But don't count the Hawks out, man. I mean, they got some ballers on this team. Like, even on the bench, Lou Williams, when Trae Young got hurt, Lou Williams was taking over. Really facilitating the ball, passing, scoring, just running the offense. And Capella, right away, I thought had a good game too. Was really getting on the fast break, dunking the ball. So they have good players on this team. And if you think about the Hawks, man, they're just a never die team. They came back twice in the 76ers series from an 18-point deficit in the Game 4 and a 26-point deficit in Game 5, man. So you really gotta not count these Hawks out. There's a Cinderella team of the playoffs, and sometimes they can really get hot and just can't miss. So don't count the Hawks out of this series. Even if they go down 3-1, we've seen teams come back from a 3-1 deficit. And you think about the Cavs in 2016. Chris Paul has been on some teams that has blown a 3.1 lead and they should have made the finals or made the conference finals. So we've seen that happen before with the Clippers and Rockets. We saw Denver do it last year in the bubble several times. So don't count these Hawks out. Even if they lose the next game, I still wouldn't be surprised if this series went 6 or even 7 games. Okay, so Phoenix Suns and the Clippers series are tonight. Phoenix can close it out tonight. And I think Phoenix's real advantage here is they're playing on their home court. Those fans are going to be rocking, man. They're going to be hyped. One game on the finals. This is it. they can do it. They can make the finals. And all you got to do is close out the Clippers tonight. But let's go back to the last game. Wasn't the prettiest game, I would say. Let's see, the Suns shot 31 of 86. That's 36% from the field. But the Clippers shot 27 of 83, 32.5%. So both teams really had a really bad shooting game. Now you can say, well, why? Well, it's probably just a great defensive game. Yeah, there was some good defense, but honestly, both teams just seemed cold. They couldn't make crap. I mean, it was like at 70-71 in the fourth quarter for like ever. The final score looked like a halftime score. So both teams, not the best shooting night for their programs. Booker did have 25 points though. I was wrong about that. I thought he would have 30, 12, and 10. But he had 25 points, 2 assists, and no rebounds. Fouled out, which if you didn't follow basketball, but you kind of knew that Devin Booker was one of the stars of the team, you thought, oh, the Suns are probably going to blow it out. Booker's fouled out, but Chris Paul, being the veteran and GOAT point guard and leader that he is, comes through for the team and knocks down a couple free throws to let him have the lead still and closed it out for him. Chris Paul had a good game too. He had 18 points and 7 assists. So I told you he'd be back to his regular self. You just had to give him a game or two. That first game, man, I'm not surprised he didn't play that well. I mean, sat out the first 2 games of the series. They had like a week off before the conference final started, so he's a little cold in the first game, but back to his regular self now. How about Ayton, though, for the Suns? Had 19 points and 22 rebounds. 22! Ayton's really coming through for this team, man. Like I was saying, he's averaging a double-double for the series, and he's a really good third option for this team. Even though I'm giving the Suns all of these praise, and you might think, oh, he's changing his prediction from 7 games that he thinks they're going to close it out tonight. Wrong. I think the Clippers are going to win tonight. I think it's going to be really tough. I don't think the Clippers are going to blow off the Suns, and I'm not going to be surprised if the Suns win. I mean, I want the Suns to win, but I really think that the Clippers are going to win tonight because they have shown that they can play terrible one game or the first 2 games of the series. They always decide to take off, I guess. Especially without Kawhi. It's tougher, but I think Paul George is going to have a big game tonight. So, starting with that, I'm going to give you what's my why. And my why is why I think Paul George is going to have a big game tonight. Paul George will have a good game tonight because I think when his team and the Clippers have their back, when Paul George and his team have their backs against the wall, I think they always answer the bell. I mean, look at it. They made it this far by being down 0-2 in both of their series prior to this. They took the Mavericks to 7 games. They took the Jazz to 6, but Game 6 felt like a Game 7. And the Clippers didn't even need that as bad as the Jazz because they were up 3-2, but they played it like a Game 7. Now, in Game 5 of the Jazz series, it was the first game that Kawhi Leonard was out. And everyone's saying, oh, Paul George has got to step it up, man. He has got to come through for this team. And he did. He had 37 points. In Game 6 of that series, they could have closed it out. And he comes through with 28 points. Now, they're going to need some help. It can't just be Paul George. But, Reggie Jackson is going to have to step up. He's been playing good too, but maybe, it's going to help if he scores like 20, 25 points or more. Comes through tonight. Terrence Mann, he only scored like 12 points last game. But if he comes out with another big game like he did in Game 6 against the Jazz, where he had like 39 points, I think the Clippers can really pull it out. But it's going to start with Paul George leading this team offensively and defensively if they don't want to go home and watch the Suns in the NBA Finals. All right, so let's talk some sports history for today. This did not happen today, but on January 9th, 1958, Oscar Robertson, the great Hall of Fame Oscar Robertson, scored 56 points against Seton Hall, where their entire team only scored 54. Oscar Robinson outscored their entire team, man. As Cincinnati won 118 to 54 against Seton Hall. This did not happen today, but this is going to be painful for me to say because I'm a Celtics fan. But I got to give respect to the Lakers and the great Kobe Bryant. June 17th of 2010, the Lakers beat the Celtics in a Game 7 where Kobe Bryant, MVP of the NBA Finals, had 23 points and won the franchise's 16th NBA title. All right, well, that's the show for today. Tune in this at the end of the week, and I'll talk about the Suns series with the Clippers and the Bucks Hawks. I might throw in another separate video on some baseball as well. Thanks for watching. What's your take?